Cubans are suffering under Trump's embargoes.
We'll have an update on the situation in Havana and more today on the Undercurrent. Greetings and salutations from under the sea. Ooh, under the sea. Under the sea. We got people here.
We got people here. We got Willie. We got Max. We got Chuck.
That's we've got StreamYard.
We got StreamYard. Yeah, we do. Yeah.
StreamYard's here. Hey, StreamYard. Hi, everybody. I'm StreamYard. Good to see everybody. Oh, you got a new computer. Really got a new computer.
And I got a new computer. It's all very exciting. Yeah, my old computer could not handle and could not handle StreamYard, could not handle much anymore.
It's too hot. This news is just too hot.
Too hot.
That. Yeah. Well, I mean, when you can do it, it's great. When you can update the old system, prices these days are pretty up there too.
Well, I was fortunate. I'm a Mac girl, and Mac does tend to hold for a fairly long amount of time, and so that was great. But it was first time in a long time that I've gotten a new computer, so it was pretty exciting.
Hey, Variant.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Hope you're doing well this morning, dear. Yeah, I swing both ways. I can do. I was on Mac for a while, and then I went back to Windows. So the only thing is with Windows is it's easier to change out parts. The bad news is the prices of those parts are still pretty high anyway. So yeah, it's either way, it's they got us there with the pricing. So I hope you're not having too many problems out there in computer land with your rigs, because Mac is very proprietary. You can't just go out and buy a new motherboard for Mac unless you're buying it from Mac, that sort of thing. So and then you also you have these security issues like with Windows 11. You've been hearing a lot of complaints about Windows 11 too. I refuse to get Windows 11. I'm stuck at 10. It says, oh, you don't have the hardware to update to Windows 11 anyway, and I'm like, oh, well, isn't that a shame? That is just too bad that I can't upgrade to your garbage operating system. I mean, you're wonderful, highly advanced. Yeah. Been hearing a lot of security things about that too. So I'll be staying on 10 for the foreseeable future. So it's better safe than sorry, right?
Oh, indeed. I'm just, as I said, working as an editor, working with text, you don't need a really advanced system or a really new system. But since we're moving into the video stuff, got to have that kind of power.
That's right. And it helps to have it. It's better if you can future proof it. I always tell people go for it because you never know what the future holds. You may end up having to pay a whole hell of a lot of money that you will not have.
Hey, P-Stuff.
What's up, P-Stuff? Good to see you. Good morning to you. All right, I guess we got news and stuff to get to.
Yeah, a little bit.
What are we doing? Okay. I always do something for a certain while on one system, and then I'm like, what? I'm doing on here? Okay. Hey, back in my day. I guess there is a big twist on the old Charlie Kirk motion. I almost said motion picture there on the movie there, but it feels like a movie the way this is playing out, right? So, wait a minute, I got to do this. Is our current our Riptide ripped straight from the headlines. Bling bling. We should get that sound effect for this. The one. So big twist in Charlie Kirk murder trial. Bullet used to kill him did not match Tyler Robinson's rifle. claims court filings. Dun, dun, dun. They kind of look the same a little bit.
They do.
What if he shot at himself from like another dimension?
Well, that was that whole thing with Candace Owens saying that he was a time traveler or something.
Yeah. And then that plane that
Yeah.
disappeared too. Do you remember the plane that disappeared and had the orbs around him and stuff? What was that? The Malaysian flight? They said it got sucked up into something. I'm just saying, man.
I'm not commenting on that. That's above my pay grade.
For Cocoa Puffs theory before, but now,
yeah, the whole thing here. I mean, it's tragic. It's tragic,
well,
but it's stunk from the very beginning. But go into it, Uncle Warren, please. This is very interesting.
So this was a new court filing on Tuesday. Defense attorneys, that'd be yesterday. Defense attorneys for Tyler Robinson, the accused who allegedly killed conservative influencer Charlie Kirk, have claimed that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, lovingly known as the ATF, the E doesn't get any love, sorry, was unable to match the bullet recovered during the autopsy to the rifle allegedly used by Robinson, stating that the used by stating that the recovered weapon was a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber rifle. Defense lawyers stated that the ATF and analysts could not conclusively identify the bullet fragment found in Kirk's body to that of the bullet fired. Like they need more conspiracies. Robinson's legal team is using this finding to support his claim of innocence and has requested a 6-month delay to further review approximately 20,000 files of evidence. Despite the new court filing, prosecutors maintain that Robinson traveled 3 hours to the university to carry out the killing. Or did he? Or was it 3 seconds with time travel? He was later turned in by his father, who recognized the rifle in police-released images during the manhunt. The weapon had reportedly been gifted to Robinson by his grandfather. They have also submitted to the court alleged messages between Robinson and his roommate, Lance Twiggs, in which he discussed leaving the rifle behind and attempting to retrieve it. He also expressed concern about fingerprints and how to explain the missing weapon to his father. Prosecutors say that Robinson eventually confessed to his father, who then contacted law enforcement and helped secure him until officers arrived. They also quoted Robinson's friends, who said he joked about violence during drunken moments and had been influenced by extremist views. Who doesn't drink about violent moments or violence during drunken moments? Right? Wait, what? Sane people? I'm sorry. The defense highlighted that reports from the FBI and ATF show multiple DNA profiles on key evidence. The defense pressed the court to ask prosecutors to present several categories of evidence, including forensic reports, social media data, testimony from officers, and statements from Robinson's family and roommate. They also claimed that some of the evidence may rely heavily on hearsay. Oh, no, not hearsay. That's the worst kind of evidence. Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk was killed by a gunshot to the neck on September 10th of last year. The attack occurred while he was speaking at an outdoor American Comeback Tour event in the central courtyard of Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah. Robinson is facing capital murder charges and could receive the death penalty for the September 10th killing at Utah Valley University. I don't know. I'm suspicious of everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super suspicious of everybody.
So which leads me to one of two things. So if this is legit, if this is like a different bullet, a totally different bullet from another gun, then why would the powers that be that are trying to suppress this allow this information to come out?
Yeah.
And two, if it's wasn't supposed to come out, who did the slipping and what was their goals and that sort of thing.
And yeah, I mean, why not try and find that other gun and that other shooter and right?
Find the other gun? What kind of legal credibility is that?
going after the real killer. And we'll also lift with the question here. I mean, was this kid set up? I mean, was his if he's being influenced to have extremist views?
Absolutely not. He is in no way, shape, or form being influenced by any outside people. Absolutely not. I totally.
Yeah. We are living in a very strange timeline.
Well, it gets stranger,
Yeah.
if you can believe that. So the sheriff who was involved in the in all this, that the investigations and whatnot, guess what he said? No más trabajo aquí. He said, take this job and shove it. Ain't working here no more. So the Washington County Sheriff abruptly resigns following undisclosed complaints. Well, odd time to quit the old force there, Bob. Just saying. Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby resigned and announced his retirement on Friday, this past Friday, ending an over 30-year career in law enforcement, according to the Washington County Attorney's Office. Brooksby's resignation comes after the county received complaints from individuals who were concerned with the operation at the sheriff's office. That's according to Deputy County Attorney Courtney Sinagra, told the Tribune here, the Salt Lake Tribune. The commissioners discussed those with the sheriff who disagreed with what was being said, but he did decide to go ahead and resign and move on to retirement after 30 years in law enforcement, she added. After that decision, the complaint asked the matter not be pursued further, and we're respecting their request. How's that about that? How's that work out? Sinagra said that she cannot share details of the complaints with the Tribune out of respect for the individuals who brought forward the concerns. The county expressed gratitude for Brooksby's years of service in a press release on Monday. Sheriff Brooksby has been a tremendous asset to our community, and we appreciate his many years of service, but not today. Not today. We appreciate the other many years of service, but not today. I added that last part. Washington County Attorney Jerry Yeager said in a statement, the Washington County Attorney's Office is now ensuring that the legal procedure for appointing a new sheriff is appropriately executed. Yikes. That's a terrible choice of words. According to Utah law, the political party of the prior office holder will nominate a new individual for the job. So I guess he was a Republican, maybe. I don't know. In this case, Washington County Republican. Okay, yeah. Will submit the name of the individual it chooses to fill the sheriff's position. After that, the county commission must officially appoint that individual. Interesting. So he, yeah. So right after that, drops for Charlie Kirk, all of a sudden, oopsie sauce. Well, my, look at the time. Gotta go.
And talk about lack of transparency. There are complaints, but we're not going to reveal the complaints because we don't want to, expose the complainants, the people who are making the complaints. But this is a public office. Doesn't the public have a right to know?
One would think on public matters, yes. And seeing how this was, yeah, he was shot. And why is this guy? Why is this guy right here? Why is he retired? He said, serve him up. That's it. I'm done. Toast. Stick a fork in me. He's done. I was so sure that was illegal. Okay.
We're talking about the war drone company. And this over here.
So Brooksby out. This is something we're gonna have to keep an eye on, though.
Yeah, one of many things that we're keeping an eye on.
Well, I tell you, it's one of these things. It's like, all right, I didn't want to get into the hype, but if there's like some real like cover up criminality going on here, I think we should probably at least say, hey, look, what's going on here. So
yeah. When people are assassinated at a rally in Utah, I think we need to pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just a
Yeah.
thought. And he's
Yeah.
a media guy. And look, again, I know I know he had he had his own agenda. But this is not good. It's never good. It's a miracle that other people weren't injured
Mm-hmm.
when that sort of thing happened. So yeah, I'd kind of like to know what happened and see somebody brought to justice, particularly the person who actually fired the gun that had the bullet in it that killed the guy. Right?
You and your thirst for justice. Will it ever be quenched? I doubt it. You know how people are. This is let's see, here's a good. So let's bring this up. So in other news, as birthright citizenship goes to the Supreme Court, here's how Americans feel about it. That means if you were born on this land, on this hallowed sacred dirt of America, we're talking about you, cowboy or cowgirl or whatever you got underneath the hood. The Supreme Court will now hear arguments Wednesday, that's today, on whether all children born in the U.S. can continue to automatically receive citizenship. The decision, not expected for months, could reshape what had been a long-time constitutionally enshrined practice that has been challenged by the Trump administration and a few other people too. Oh, hi, you could go away. There you go. Public opinion on the issue is complicated. Americans are heavily in favor of granting citizenship to children born to parents who were also born in the U.S. or to those who immigrated to the U.S. legally, but they are split on, or much less in support of automatic citizenship for children born to parents who immigrated illegally. Dun, dun, dun. Those scallywags. Only about 36 countries around the world, mostly in the Western Hemisphere, offer automatic birthright citizenship. The legal term for the practice is jus soli. I thought it was a sauce there for a second. Latin for right of soil. Maybe it's right for sauce, right of sauce too. Sauce. Sorry.
I'm thinking about French dips, but never mind.
They are Jew. Yes, you know that they stick the beef and the sandwich in there. So good. So it has roots in colonialism, particularly in South America and Africa, when Western European countries needed more people for labor and to outnumber native populations in those places. Many African countries abandoned the practice after gaining independence. Other countries in recent decades have also abolished the practice. Ireland did so in 2005 after roughly 80% of voters rejected it. The UK, Australia, and New Zealand, India, and Pakistan all also have done away with it. Many countries offer citizenship instead via jus sanguinis, or the right of blood. That sounds messy. In other words, through familial lineage. Oh, okay. Well, that's not bad. I thought there was gonna be like, shing, the blood. It's so much. This month, though, Italy even further restricted who qualifies. In the U.S., birthright citizenship became part of the Constitution in 1868 as an effort to protect recently freed slaves. It was enacted with the passage of the 14th Amendment. Section 1 of the amendment says, all persons born or naturalized in the U.S. and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside, therefore, to which thereof, therefore art thou, thee, thus thou. But Trump has taken an aim at birthright citizenship, passing an executive order on day one of his second term to ban it. You can't ban that. It's just stupid. Aimed at immigrants who cross the border illegally, the Trump administration argues that the Constitution's clause is outdated and has been abused. Public opinion is nuanced on birthright citizenship and can depend on how pollsters ask the question. Yeah, of course. How does that question affect me politically? And then I'll answer it in such that way. When surveys ask about birthright citizenship in general, people largely say they are supportive. But that support begins to crumble when respondents are asked about the parents' legal status, with significant divisions by party, race, age, and how they get their information. Yeah, mostly about how they get their information. A Public Religion Research Institute survey from December found 2/3 are in favor of granting citizenship regardless of their parents' citizenship status. A large sample poll by Civic Health and Institutions Project, or CHIP 50, a survey done in conjunction with multiple universities, found 59% in favor of keeping it, but both showed higher support than other surveys, and both mentioned in their questions that the right is found in the U.S. Constitutions. Other surveys have found less support for it. NPR Ipsos poll last year found a slim majority against ending the practice, with 28% in favor. The Pew Research Center YouGov poll. So yeah, and there's more here. You can catch this on our Substack to get the full meal deal. But yeah, to say that, okay, that now they're trying to get rid of the technicalities, right?
Yeah. Well, the idea that you're just going to sign an executive order and change the Constitution is mind-boggling, and it really shouldn't be mind-boggling. I need to adjust my thinking on this matter. Nothing that this man does should boggle my mind anymore. And what is really irritating me about this is that this country has had a nudge, wink approach to undocumented migration for the longest time, because many industries run on that labor because those folks are easy to exploit.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, they could go after the employers, and that might actually make some significant changes, but they don't do that. They go after the individuals, and they treat them horribly because they're good. They're a good source of exploited labor, cheap labor, and they're easy to exploit for political purposes.
Mm-hmm.
You can direct hatred toward them. And of course, we've seen ICE just completely dismantle normal protections when it comes to law enforcement and civil confinement and that sort of thing. So we've got all that happening. Now, one thing that's really concerning me about this, I mean, we can have a debate about birthright citizenship. As they pointed out, many countries don't have it, but it would require constitutional changes. But I'm also really concerned about if nothing changes and we don't start going after the companies that employ people who do not have a legal right to work here, what we're going to do is create an even larger class of people who are incredibly vulnerable, who do not have a right to go to school, who may not have a right to medical care or food or shelter, and they're going to be even more easily exploited. Right now, there's the question is coming up. There was a case in Texas, I think in the 80s, which did establish that children, whether they are documented or not, have a right to a free public education. If they're here, they have a right to go to school. That some folks are looking to take that away. And again, these children will be fodder for all kinds of abuse. And we're gonna see kids grow up with no education, no degrees, no interventions for learning disabilities. They don't have a legal right to work. They will be even more exploitable. So I think that I don't trust the narrative on this issue about migration or birthright citizenship. I think all that's going to happen is we're going to have an increased pool of people who are easy to exploit for political or financial purposes.
Yeah. I say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you're here, if you were born here, I don't care where your parents are from. If you were born here on this soil, you're an American. Yeah. That's the way it's been since we've been growing up. I don't see any reason for changing that. I think people need to get off their duffs and put on some actual solid legislation so this stuff doesn't need to go to court all the time. Yeah. We need to fix this. We need to sit down and fix this. And not for the reasons that either side is touting. I think it's systematic, and the system itself needs to be uprooted and fixed before any of this extraneous stuff is ever going to get fixed. Like It's like, hey, I mended your broken arm. Oh, your liver's messed up. Oh, that's. But hey, your arm works for now. All right, let's get on. We got a lot to get to. So of course, now Israel has a new death penalty, but just for Palestinians, apparently, if you're into that sort of thing. So UN rights chief urges immediate repeal of Israel's new death penalty law. Like I said, I was not being not using hyperbole when I said that it's some for thee but not for me kind of thing. The top UN human rights official was among those who on Tuesday urged Israel to repeal legislation it passed the previous day, legalizing the hanging of Palestinians convicted of terrorism-related killings of Israelis. A new law, law critics contend, will not apply to Israelis who could commit these similar crimes. The law passed by the Israeli Knesset states that Palestinians must be hanged within 90 days if convicted of nationalistic killings in a military court. While the legislation does not allow pardons, it gives judges discretionary power when it comes to sentencing Israeli citizens convicted of similar crimes. And observers say it's highly unlikely that any Israeli would ever be hanged under the law. Yeah, some for thee, but not for me. Experts argue the 90-day provision and lack of appellate process are violations of international humanitarian law. It's deeply disappointing that this bill has been approved by the Knesset, a UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, I never say his name right, said Tuesday. It's patently inconsistent with Israel's international law obligations, including in relation to the right to life. It raises serious concerns about due process violations, is deeply discriminatory, and must be promptly repealed. The death penalty is profoundly difficult to reconcile with human dignity, and it raises the unacceptable risk of executing innocent people, he added. Its application in a discriminatory manner would constitute an additional, particularly egregious violation of international law. Its application to residents of the occupied Palestinian territory would constitute a war crime. While proponents of the law, some of whom, like Israeli National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, celebrated its passage, say they believe it will deter Palestinians from killing Israelis. Studies in the U.S., the only Western democracy that actively executes people, have repeatedly shown that the death penalty is not a deterrent to crime. No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Palestinians and their defenders have also warned that the law could open the door to mass executions. Yeah, that's where I see that too, including of anyone found to have killed Israelis during the October 7th, 2023 Hamas-led attack, for which Israel retaliated with an ongoing assault and siege that has left more than 250,000 Palestinians dead, maimed, or missing. Trials for crimes related to October 7th are supremely important, but they must not be anchored in discrimination, said Turk. All victims are entitled to equal protection of the law, and all perpetrators must be held accountable without discrimination. Other human rights defenders also condemned the new Israeli law and called for its repeal. Yeah, and there's just more of these groups going on here. But yeah, this is not a deterrent for crime. This is a deterrent for a specialized group of people. And they even say so, like, well, nobody will get out of punishment for it, but it's up to the judges. And if the judge says, oh, well, he doesn't need to, or she doesn't need to die for this, you could do like some sort of like life imprisonment. Meanwhile, if it's a Palestinian, they could instantly serve them up for the death penalty. It just seems like it's another way of trying to get rid of people.
It is a way of getting rid of people. First of all, if a person, the obvious thing, of course, is dead people don't appeal cases. Dead people do not speak to the media. They don't they don't inspire people to necessarily continue to try to get them out, try and get a retrial, try to do an appeal, try to get the word out there so that other people can investigate the case. When they're dead, they're dead. And that's, I think, fairly obvious. I would also say that if you have somebody who is engaging in nationalistic terrorism or religious terrorism of that sort, they're often very prepared to die in the process. And in fact, if they become a martyr for the cause, they're cool with that. So I don't see this stopping anybody who's hell bent on horrendous violence. And I also see this as a form of terrorism, psychological terrorism against the Palestinians. Hanging is a gruesome, gruesome death, and it's having people on the gallows is incredibly disturbing, and it's a public sort of thing. It is something that I think is just meant to scare Palestinians, and also because they're not going to have the right to appeal their case. It's a way to get rid of, as you pointed out, get rid of innocent people who haven't done anything, and to scare others into submission so they won't even attempt a peaceful protest. Come on, this is obvious.
No, yeah, this is just I'm on board with this being another form of intimidation.
Yeah,
trying to keep these people in their place, as it were.
This is not about public safety.
No, and it never has been, really. It really hasn't. Maybe their own public safety, but sure as hell not the public safety of the whole, everybody as a whole. That's for sure. Meanwhile, China is looking into our little nasty little goodies over here. What are they doing? They are all up in our business. These Chinese, China opens probes into U.S. trading practices. There was some shenanigans recently with the stock market going up and down when a certain person said certain things in a certain way. Oh boy, how would they go up and down? And then they'd say like, we're going to snatch the leader of Venezuela. Maybe. And then people bet on it and stuff. Well, and before that too, you had Aunt Nancy over there just, this insider trading is so good. Oh, not as good as this wine though. Give me more. Mommy wants some more. Come on. Every drop. Mommy needs her sauce. China opens probe into U.S. trading practices. They're like, what the hell is going on over there, boys and girls? Look at him. He's even adjusting his coat. I want a piece of that action. China has launched a pair of investigations into U.S. trade practices in response to similar probes from the Trump administration, according to a spokesperson for China's Ministry of Commerce. Oh, you mean that more than one person can do probes? Cool. I know that. I thought it was me first, and then your turn. The first investigation will examine whether U.S. measures are disrupting global supply chains and carry a little thing called the war on Iran, hindering the trade of green products, although the ministry did not specifically define this category. The Ministry of Commerce said preliminary evidence indicated that the U.S. has installed practices that specifically harm Chinese industry. The ministry said these measures are prohibiting China-made goods, including green products, from entering the U.S. and also slowing down the deployment of new energy products and restricting cooperation on green technologies. Both investigations will be carried out over the next 6 months, with the ministry utilizing questionnaires, hearings, and on-site investigations to assess the impact of U.S. trade practices. They only needed 2 pages. One had a picture of a bomb on it, and the other one said boom. Those were the 2 pages. That's the trade practices. The spokesperson said the probes were a response to a pair of Section 301 trade investigations the U.S. launched into potential manufacturing overcapacity and forced labor regulations. Well, them too. China was one of the countries targeted in each probe. China's probes come ahead of a planned meeting between China President Xi Jinping and Trumpy, scheduled for May. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt confirmed Thursday the meetings will take place May 14th and May 15th in Beijing, live at the Civic Center. No. Sorry. It always has to be at the Civic Center. Xi and Trump met in October to iron out the details of a trade war truce. The two had countries engaged in a back and forth trade spat. They said spat for much of last year that led to escalating tariffs from both sides. However, the terms agreed to then were largely based on tariffs Trump installed using the International Emergency Broadcast System. Oh, I'm sorry. The International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the IEPA. Those levies have since been lifted following a Supreme Court ruling that invalidated them. Seems like that's how it is these days. Trump goes to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court mostly says, nah, dude, you can't do that. In a move exuding growing confidence, China is in effect telling the U.S. that if you return to your IEPA level tariffs, which we accepted in our October truce, we will impose more tariffs to match that increase. Wendy Cutler, SV, I guess that's Senior Vice President of the Asia Society Policy Institute, or ASPI, said in a LinkedIn post, and to back off this move, expect the emboldened Chinese negotiators to make more asks when the leaders meet in May.
So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I for one welcome.
I know, right?
Our Chinese global citizens investigating our practices. I think it's what keeps you honest.
You know what, and it makes us look so stupid too. It's like, what them damn Chinese? Why they investigating us first? Well, we all did some illegal shit. What? No, we didn't do that. Did we? Did we do that? I'm looking at you. Yeah, we did that. Oh shit! When did we? I'm sorry. And that's how they go. They go, I'm sorry. We didn't mean to do that. Yeah, of course. Of course. And that was the perfect time as the United States looks as weak as it does against Iran. These other countries are like, oh, we get to talk shit now? Okay. Okay. Hey, everybody. Yeah, we get to talk shit now. Come on. Mic's open. Let's go. Yeah. And I would too. This is the perfect time to line up on those jackasses.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as I said, it'd be interesting to see what the Chinese come up with.
Yeah. Like, for a country that builds trains instead of bombs, for countries that they're servicing there, it makes a difference, So, oh, you don't want to blow shit up. Oh, you want to actually build some stuff. Okay. It's amazing how that works out. When it comes to just regular ass people and not people selling weapons. So now there's going to be a new method of counting Americans. We're not going to.
Well, they're testing something. This I saw and I was like, So I thought we would include it because it's
onesies, twosies, redsies, bluesies. I only get to 4, and then I can't count past 4. Redsie bluesies, and it always messes me up with the redsie bluesies. All right, so the United States Postal Service to test new method of counting Americans. 2030, that's coming up, folks. It's not as far away as you may think. The U.S. Census Bureau will pilot using the U.S. Postal Service workers to collect responses in a 2026 field test. For the 2030 census, it will test whether postal carriers' local knowledge can improve in-person follow-ups and reduce costs while responding households complete an online questionnaire. Why it matters. Yes, that's what I want to know. The 2030 census will shape congressional representation and guide an estimated $2.8 trillion in annual federal funding, making methods that improve accuracy and efficiency significant for states and communities. The idea of having postal carriers conduct in-person census interviews has been considered for some time. Supporters argue it would make use of an existing workforce and draw on carriers' familiarity with the households on their routes, while concerns have been raised about potential cost and impact on postal workers themselves. To which they replied, oh, you want me to talk to regular ass people along my route? No, thank you. I know these people and their dogs. Oh, their dogs. The Bureau announced it has updated its 2026 census test locations to Huntsville, Alabama, and Spartanburg, South Carolina. This is Spartanburg. The sites were chosen to help the agency assess how collaboration with the USPS could improve efficiency, as well as to refine in-field data collection methods ahead of the census. The primary way the U.S. Census is conducted is through self-response. The agency sends invitations to households encouraging residents to complete the questionnaire on their own. Yeah, good luck with that. Most commonly online, though options to respond by mail or phone are also available. Those are the ones I'm talking about. People don't like to do that stuff. The Bureau relies in part on address data and delivery support from the USPS to reach households across the country. For households that do not respond, the Census Bureau conducts what is known as non-response follow-up. This involves breaking into their home, eating all their food. No, I'm kidding. This involves hiring large numbers of temporary workers called enumerators. That doesn't sound scary. Who go door to door to collect the required information in person. These enumerators are typically recruited locally and trained specifically. No, the bulletin. Specifically for the census, and their role is to ensure that hard to reach or non-responsive households are still counted. So they go up to the gravestone and go, "Are you dead? Thank you. I'm going to mark that as yes." Beginning May 1st, about 154,600 households across the two areas will be invited to complete the test online in English only using a computer, smartphone, or a someone that does those seances. You get one of those people.
Get a medium.
Check 1 for yes. Check 2 for no. Check 3 for blah. Everybody always picks 3 because it's the best one. Responses by phone or mail will not be available, or by blah. Damn it! I want my blah response. Fucking people. Sorry. The test will use the same questions as the American Community Survey, covering detailed demographic, social, economic, and housing information. It is expected to take around 40 minutes to complete and will include questions on topics such as name, race, sex, citizenship, education, and who your sister is seeing these days. How is it? Are they nice men? Do they pick up the wait a minute, that's not part of the thing. What is this? In Spartanburg, 25 postal workers taking part in the pilot will go door to door along their routes to ask households the census test questions. If they do not respond online, they will identify themselves as postal workers, to which the older people will go, "Wait, are you going postal on us?" Remember when people went postal and things,
Uncle Warren.
Stop painted in red. Painted in red is all I'm saying. In Huntsville, the Census Bureau plans to. Okay, yeah, we already said that. All right, so these people are going at the risk of their lives to go door to door to say hi to these people. Like, fill it out, please. Don't kill me, please. Don't kill me.
Yeah, as Chuck points out in the everybody's talking about this in the comments. Right now, there's talk about the U.S. Postal Service going bust within the next couple of years. That's one thing that's happening. The Postal Service is not known for treating its workers all that great. They also have a habit of introducing new services, but not adjusting the time allotted for getting the mail out. The other thing that's getting me at this point, and people don't like it when census workers show up at their homes, and this could, in my view, create even more friction between postal workers and, you want to have a good relationship with your postal carrier. I've just found that to be very useful. And this could create additional friction between people and postal workers. Not what I want to see. But I have to say I'm a little suspicious at this point. Why are we deputizing postal workers to, well, in my opinion, snoop?
It's because they don't do enough. Get off your butts.
Yeah, but it's they are they being deputized for snooping? They already know
probably.
people's business, okay? And the postal worker can go and rat on them at the Census Bureau saying, "Hey, this person, they say this number of people, but they're getting mail for this number of people." They're
Yeah.
seeing different names here, and we're seeing some names that maybe don't sound American. I remember that, Tom. I absolutely remember that, Tom. And so, it's for me. I'm not liking this. It's one thing if you have somebody who's a census worker. Okay, they're trained. They come out, they do their jobs, and they go home, and that's it. When you have a postal worker who has a lot more knowledge about these households, are they being trained to be snoops and spies? And we've got this, we got ICE, we got Department of Homeland Security. How is that information going to be used? I mean, the census is supposed to give the government an idea of where people are, what languages they speak. It determines how much money these areas get, how much support these areas get. But in this environment, I don't like this strategy at all.
Nah, I don't either.
I don't trust it. I simply don't trust it.
People don't like people coming to their door unannounced either, too. You notice that too? Like they don't like even if they know you, they're like, why didn't you text me first? What's this? We've all now just kind of like hunkered down now in our spots. So
yeah, I don't see this. I don't see this ending well, and I'm very suspicious of the motives. And honestly, I don't see the post office managing this well either. And I think we're going to have postal workers who are volunteers who are suddenly going to find themselves working a whole lot of extra hours for minimal or possibly no compensation, taking additional risks, and this will further mess up the mail service. Nope.
Yeah, they already got their own problems as it is without adding to them for sure.
Yeah.
Just like in Cuba.
Yeah.
You like that segue?
It's not, we've been talking, it's not like there aren't so many different stories going on right now that are happening. But I wanted to take a look at what was happening in Cuba. And we've got some updates too, Uncle Warren, that you found. Some articles about some things that are going on. There's some humanitarian aid coming in here. This actually really caught my attention when I heard about the idiot celebrity activists who decided to show up in Cuba and stay in nice hotels, and they had their power on when the average Cuban is, having to deal with ongoing blackouts. And there we are. But I wanted to talk about what's happening in Cuba. Cuba, of course, has had to deal with pressure from the U.S. for a very long time because they decided that they wanted to run their country the way they wanted to run it. And we don't like that, or the U.S. doesn't like that, and has made things very difficult for them. But this energy embargo is causing the day-to-day living has become even more difficult for Cubans. There's talk of blackouts that are going 12, 15 hours a day, and sometimes those are being extended. And we've got a situation here where public services are crumbling. We've got a public health problem because they can't pick up trash, and that's causing rodents and bugs to feed on the trash. It attracts them. It attracts the rodents and the mosquitoes and whatnot. And people, this can spread disease. We've got a country, by the way, many people are aware that they have all these old classic American cars, and some of them are Soviet era, Soviet cars as well on the streets. They keep on repairing. The government does not like the idea of people having private individuals having cars that much. They put a pretty strong tax levy on those cars, but they do invest in public transportation. Well, public transit is crumbling at this point. Schools are crumbling. The healthcare system is crumbling. And we've got the psychological warfare going on with not knowing when there's going to be power. And that is something that people, I think, don't realize. If you've never lived in a civil war situation, that not knowing when you're going to have power is very troubling. It's upsetting. And the people who manage to survive it are those who assume the power is going to be out and take any power as a gift. But they're wearing down, that this is wearing down the people of Cuba. And we've also got Donald Trump running around and threatening governments who want to help. So now he's telling other governments, not only is he trying to tell Cuba how they're supposed to run their affairs, he's telling other governments how to run their affairs. And the people of Cuba are suffering. And some of these people are not going to be able to come back from that. When people are sick, when you have sick children can't get to school, things aren't functioning. There's going to be things happening here that people are not going to be able to come back from. And I think that people ought to be aware of this, that this is interference, ongoing interference, and we're seeing it right now in a very intense form. And, again, Trump said, okay, you're not getting anything from Venezuela. He's saying you can't get anything from Mexico, but they have allowed a Russian tanker to get in with some oil, which could provide some relief for a little bit. We don't know how long. This is bullying. This is full-on bullying. And again, making enemies or increasing animosity with countries that are very close to us geographically. In addition to our European allies who are extremely annoyed, now he's doing this, with Latin America, and basically saying, and so all he's doing is he's reinforcing China and Russia as potential saviors. What's going on here? I remember there was something that Kit and Heartlands Media, we talked about this a few times on when he and I would do shows together. And he said, look, it's, we're losing our friends, and there's going to be a point where the U.S. may need help, and nobody's going to want to help us because of what this country did. And he was right. And look what we've done. And meanwhile, we've got this island of people who have resolutely, have built a society. And I'm not crazy necessarily about the regime necessarily there, but they've built a society. They have prioritized things like public transportation, medical care, education, and we have the U.S. has just tried to make it as difficult as possible for them. And now it's like a cat battering a mouse.
Well, if socialism is such a bad thing, if this is why they're being punished and sanctioned in the first place, why not just let it fail on its own if it's such a bad thing? But it hasn't. It's only failed because of these embargoes that the U.S. has done. They haven't been, and even then, with the embargoes, they've still managed to have top quality health care in Cuba too. And I think that makes the United States look bad. They say, see, look what they're doing. Those communists down there with their good health care. Wait, what? Good health care? Why'd they get the? Yeah, so they're making do with less. Meanwhile, we have this embarrassment of riches here in the United States, and we can't even get everybody taken care of health wise. That's just one example.
And think of all the people who voted for Trump because he said, oh, yeah, we're not going to be endless wars. We're going to take care of our own. And he's got his finger in just about every pie.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to ride the anti-Trump train, but I'm at this point, this is, it's exactly what he said he was not going to do. And he's gone ahead and done it. And I don't know if we're coming back from this.
I don't think we are. And I don't think whoever's going to come after Trump is going to make a lick of difference either. There's nobody exciting in either party that screams leader, that screams, this person will get us out of this mess. It's got to be us. We have to be the ones to get us out of this mess, and if we don't do it, the mess is just going to get worse and worse. And I think that's the point we're at there. I think people have been wanting someone else to do it, and it's like, no, we have to do it.
No, and it's not going to happen. And the protesting, okay, there are people out there protesting, but I think most, political groups have been infiltrated at this point. I think we're in a far more serious situation than people realize. And we'll talk more about this during the show, but I think we're in a far more difficult situation. When we look at a government that's willing to bully, and the government's been willing to bully for a very long time. I think now we're that the average, and I don't like doing this, but the average white middle class person is now feeling this in the U.S. And I think that we don't have the tools to manage this, or to handle this, or to address it. Here we are.
Yep, we got to spur those on who are. Let's see, you're voting for Arachi. You can't vote for him.
It's good to see you, the Variant. It's good to see you here. I really appreciate your comments, and I mean, really appreciating everybody in the comment section. It really means a lot. I know we were talking about it before the show, Uncle Warren, how much we appreciate all of you in the comment section, that you're willing, whether you agree or disagree or whatnot, really appreciate it.
Yeah, without you, there's no us. And speaking of no us, there'd be no recurring tide. And that would be a shame, right? Because we have to catch up on these stories that we've been covering here. That includes Gavin Newsom and his haircut there. And his haircut.
Yeah, remember last week.
Yeah. So Newsom to ban California officials from insider betting on prediction markets. So no poly market for you. And probably because a lot of the betting includes him too. So Governor Gavin Newsom plans to sign an executive order banning appointed state officials with insider information from betting on prediction markets, according to an advanced copy first seen by Politico. Newsom's move would make him the latest politician to take aim at concerns of rampant insider trading on the platforms, as fast-growing sites like Kalshi and Polymarket feel all kinds of bets, from those in sports to pop culture and even state politics. Yeah, that's right. The governor's order, which will immediately take effect once signed, expands existing ethics rules to prohibit state appointees from using non-public information to enrich themselves or family members on prediction market bets. Newsom's office first teased the announcement late Thursday in a Twitter post from his press account that jokingly asked Kalshi and Polymarkets to get odds for this. You see what he did there with the thing? Newsom seized the chance to dig at President Trump with his order, which accuses his administration of a failure to enforce ethical standards that would prevent government insiders from abusing prediction markets. At a time when Trump's Washington is riddled with ethical failures and insider profiteering, California is drawing a bright line. The governor said in a statement, "We're not going to tolerate this kind of corruption in California. We've got our own kind of corruption we tolerate. Thank you very much." That's what he meant to say at the end there, but he didn't. The order references an unusual instance where someone correctly predicted events related to the U.S.'s military intervention in Venezuela and its strike on Iran. Wagers around those conflicts prompted accusations of insider knowledge and the introduction last week of legislation in both houses of Congress, which would ban bets on terrorism, war, and other events. Newsom and other Democrats have previously criticized prediction market platforms over ties to the Trump family. Donald Trump Jr. is an advisor to both Kalshi and Polymarket. Oh, look at that. How about that? But Newsom is hardly the first to knock prediction markets in other states. And in Congress, lawmakers from both parties have demanded greater regulatory scrutiny amid suspicions of insider trading and fears that the platforms could addict kids. The kids I'm worried about getting addicted are the ones with those military industrial complex checks that they have written to. Those kids I worry about getting. Yeah. Are you scared of those kids?
I'm scared of a lot these days. But we're talking, I think it was last week, about that Israeli journalist who was getting death threats because of his apparently accurate reporting on a minor skirmish. And the poly market, or the prediction market, gamblers didn't like that and started threatening him. And I said, how many times has this happened to journalists that didn't have any resources? And now we have Gavin Newsom saying, which ought to be obvious, don't be using insider information to bet. I would even go so far as to say that if you are a government employee, you should not be able to bet in prediction markets. If you're going to have your pension, shore up the pension, make sure they're taken care of in retirement. But I would say, you really want to have a sharp control, some pretty serious controls on speculative investments.
Well, yeah. And we joked about, drunk Aunt Nancy and making all kinds of money right before certain legislation goes into effect or doesn't go into effect. Is one example there. And she's not the only one by any stretch. That's the thing. How do you enforce it? Right? Because these people could just say, they could pass down some money to some off person or whatever, that's not really in the picture, and say, hey, do a little something for me here. Or not even for me. Put this, it'll be in some corporate name or some PAC name or something like that. They have 8 ways from Sunday to get that stuff around you. So and now you have this what was it called? Did Chuck call it the poly market?
Yeah
Poly market is dangerous. If you want some insider trading, you want to see what people are betting on in the middle of the night, and you're like, wait, why are they betting on this in the middle of the night? Yeah, you might want to pay attention to that. So and you might want to pay attention to tariffs too. We want to pay attention to those tariffs. They're always gouging us. So EU Central Bank says U.S. consumers could eventually pay half the cost of tariffs. Oh, see, womp womp. Wait a minute, do we have a womp womp? I don't think we have a womp womp.
Womp womp.
We should have one. We have a lot of womp womp news. So, see, wait a minute. Went down too far. So new European Central Bank data shows American consumers and importers bearing the brunt of tariffs. Shocking, I know. While tariffs are reshaping the geography of trade relations with the U.S., their costs are falling mostly on domestic importers and consumers, the ECB wrote in its economic bulletin published this past Monday. We find that costs associated with higher tariffs are passed down the pricing chain. Well, you think? Do you mean the customer always bears the burden? With consumers currently bearing around a third of the tariff burden. The ECB added that if higher tariffs are expected to stick around for a longer period, which they often do, evidence from American companies indicates they will pass a larger share of the cost of these duties. Guess who? On to consumers. Over the long term, this could rise to more than half as companies lose their ability to absorb costs. Additionally, if the extent to which importers absorb tariffs remains limited in scope, as reported above, this implies that U.S. firms would absorb around 40% of higher tariff costs in the longer term, the ECB wrote. Findings come amid a period of high financial stress for U.S. consumers, which, as covered here Monday, is causing Americans to not only seek out lower prices, but to change the way they organize purchases where they shop, and which payment tools they trust most when money feels tight. In terms of shopping, research by Payments Intelligence showed that consumers facing high financial stress are more than twice as likely as lower stress consumers to use digital wallets for their last grocery purchase at 21% versus 8%, and for their most recent retail purchase at 28% versus 11%. The shift also carries a more constructive signal for merchants and payments players. Payments added, consumers are still spending, they're just doing it more carefully. High-stress shoppers spent $109 on average at their last grocery trip and $111 on their last retail purchase versus $95 and $88 for low-stress consumers. The research suggests these households could be consolidating purchases, planning more deliberately, and using digital channels to get a better handle on costs, cut back on trips, and capture promotions. They also get more digital coupons that way too. On the business side of things, additional payments intelligence research shows that exposure to international suppliers and the volatility of tariffs has become a dividing line in business performance, as covered here earlier this month. Companies with significant global sourcing report higher uncertainty, weaker margins, and more pronounced operational strain. 6 in 10 CFOs at those firms say the regulatory environment lacks predictability, compared with just 15% among firms that rely more heavily on domestic suppliers. So the buck being passed down to the consumer. Shocking. I know, right?
Yeah, and happening at a time when people are financially stressed, people are losing their jobs. It's just awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I mean, at least we weren't forewarned by this. We weren't warned by Trump. We were lied to by Trump, saying, "Oh no, don't worry about it. This will all just come back, and we'll reap the rewards. You won't, but we will." So that's how that works. Yeah, and people are starting to find out, oh, well, these tariffs weren't a good idea. What else wasn't a good idea? Oh, this war? Oh, yeah, probably that too. And then it just snowballs as more and more people figure out how they got conned. And that's right. This is some interesting stuff here. Apple will hide your email address from apps and websites, but not the cops. The coppers are like, hand over your email address. I want to see it right now. Bring them over. Apple has provided federal agents with the real identities of at least 2 customers who used one of the company's privacy features designed to mask their email addresses from apps and websites. Somebody did not get, you had one job. Well, you had several jobs, but that was one of them. Hide My Email is a feature that allows paying Apple iCloud Plus customers, ooh, you paying for that too, and you're getting screwed, to generate anonymous email addresses that forward messages to a person's private email address. Apple says it does not read messages that are forwarded, but the court documents show that this email privacy feature will not prevent law enforcement from discovering who owns an anonymous iCloud address. According to court records seen by TechCrunch, that's this outfit here, the FBI requested records from Apple earlier this month as part of an investigation into an email allegedly threatening Alexis Wilkins, the girlfriend of FBI Director Kash Patel, who he himself has his own email problems to deal with, whose relationship with Patel has been widely reported. Honeypot. honey. I mean, seriously. Have you seen Kash Patel? Come on, seriously. In response to a law enforcement request, Apple provided records indicating that the Hide My Email address is an anonymized email account associated with the target Apple account, reads the affidavit for the search warrant, which was first reported by 404 Media. Apple provided the account holder's full name and email address, as well as records for 134 anonymized email accounts created using Hide My Email. TechCrunch has seen a second search warrant in which Apple turned over information about another customer in response to a request from federal agents with Homeland Security investigations, a unit within ICE. The search warrant sought records from Apple during an investigation into an alleged identity fraud scheme. An HSI agent citing records received from Apple in January noted that the alleged fraudster had created several anonymized email addresses through Hide My Email across multiple Apple accounts. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Apple touts much of its iCloud service is end-to-end encrypted, meaning that nobody other than its customers can access their own data, not even Apple. But not all customer information is beyond law enforcement's reach, including information Apple stores about its customers, such as their names, where they live, and their billing information, as well as unencrypted information such as emails. The ability for law enforcement to access this information also underscores the privacy limitations of emails. The vast majority of emails sent, even today, are not encrypted and contain plain text information needed to route messages around the world. As such, demand for end-to-end encrypted messaging apps like Signal has ballooned in popularity in an effort to protect the private data from both surveillance and malicious hackers. Yeah, good luck with that. The spokesperson for Apple did not respond to a request for comment. Gee, I wonder why. Because they would have had to give out their email address, and well, that was.
I just think it's important to remind everybody privacy is a thing of the past.
Mm-hmm.
It just is.
Yeah, your privacy. You're not even private in the toilet. You don't even have privacy there. I've said too much.
No, have you not heard about that, Uncle Warren? The smart toilets that are supposed to monitor your health?
When there's a toilet that's smarter than me, I give up on technology. No, it should be no
seriously. Nothing I want to get involved with, but I mean, yeah, it's supposed to, it collects what is in there, and then it.
When the crap that knows E equals MC squared, don't.
So you can monitor your own health.
Shitter. I don't want a smart shitter. That's no good. Is that the was it? No? Okay. 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 Was this the one you were telling me we doubled up on?
Yeah, but I think you removed it. I think you removed the other one out of the press pool, so that we're cool with that one.
Okay, all right. So this one's cool. Okay, all right.
Yeah, this one's
all right.
Cool.
So let's get all right. So Trump womp womp. See that rhymes. Judge said no to pubcaster federal funding block. Pubcaster. That sounds like somebody opening a bar, doesn't it? Look at this guy. He's all cheery and nice. I don't like smiling people. That's just weird. A District of Columbia District Court judge has ruled against Trumpy for his signing on May 1st of last year of Executive Order 14290, which ended taxpayer subsidization of biased media by ending federal funding of both NPR and PBS by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting or any government agency. It marks a defeat for the president against Public Broadcasting Service, which sued Trump in a civil case presided by District Judge Randolph D. Moss. That would be this gentleman right there, this handsome gentleman. For Judge Moss, the executive order violates the First Amendment and as such is unlawful and unenforceable. Specifically, he said the First Amendment draws a line which the government may not cross at efforts to use government power, including the power of the purse, to punish or suppress disfavored expression by others. Executive Order 14290 crosses that line. Judge Moss notes that federal funds provide safety and security for journalists working in war zones and support the emergency broadcast system, among other things that are not linked to ideological bias, which the president and many Republicans accused the newscasts of both PBS and NPR to exhibit. It is difficult to conceive of clear evidence that a government action is targeted at viewpoints that the president does not like and seeks to squelch, wrote Mass, who was nominated by Obama. while dollars clawed back by congressional Republicans that were previously approved by Capitol Hill legislators won't return, and Congress is not blocked from a zero out of future appropriation bills. Congress now has the right to restore funding free of executive branch interference. In a statement, NPR's attorney Theodore Boutros Ghali, Theodore Boutros said the court's decision bars the government from enforcing its unconstitutional executive order targeting NPR and PBS because the president dislikes their news reporting and other programming. Right?
Yeah, and that was one of our first stories on here on the Undercurrent, that that this was going to be happening, and that there was some money that was left that was going to go to a block of other independent public media organizations, and that was happening. But it looks like at this point, this judge is putting the kibosh on this particular executive order. I expect this to go back and forth a bit. But it would be nice to ensure. Again, I have some issues around NPR and PBS, but it would be nice to help ensure that some of these public media organizations have the resources they need to serve communities, including many underserved communities that don't get access to, news reporting, the EMS emergency management system, as well as the educational programming. So something out there, and it's news and it's an update, and we'll see what happens. I don't think this fight's over yet.
Yeah, I mean, and you still need those like emergency broadcasts and stuff like that too. We still see them, especially like in the middle of the country where we're seeing weather reports on the regular too. A lot of people rely on their TV and radio in those places. A lot of times it is NPR or or whoever it is, their public stations are down there. A lot of those rely on those too.
They're relying on the weather reports. They're relying on local news, national, international news. And also there's a cultural aspect. The public radio station down here in Northwest Arkansas has some amazing music programming, stuff that may not be viable necessarily as a commercial station, but I'm hearing wonderful classical, bluegrass, folk, that sort of thing, which you're just not going to easily get on other on major commercial stations. So I think the public, these not-for-profit, non-commercial public stations have an incredibly important role in our communities, and also things like Sesame Street for the kids. Again, that reading readiness, school readiness. There are households where that's necessary. So
yeah,
I'm pleased to see that this judge is taking steps here. We'll see what happens.
Let's take a look at what's going on in the Iraq or the Iran war, I should say. It seems like it was just yesterday. It was the Iraq war. Now it's the Iran war. Just ripped the Q from my Letterman sweater and turn and turn Iraq into Iran, and it's the same thing. So the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran has killed over 2,000, has destroyed over 90,000 homes. Yeah. So U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran have killed over 2,000 people, devastated civilian infrastructure across the country, damaging more than 90,000 homes, 300 health facilities, and at least 760 schools, according to reports compiled on Monday. The Iranian Red Crescent Society said the scale of destruction has intensified, describing widespread damage to residential areas, hospitals, and education centers. It warned that essential services have been crippled as strikes continue to hit facilities protected under international law. Iranian authorities say the pattern of attacks reflects a deliberate campaign targeting civilian life, with homes, schools, and medical centers having been repeatedly struck, placing millions under sustained pressure as Washington and Tel Aviv expand their assault beyond military targets. Iranian government spokesperson Fatima Mohajirana said at least 249 women and 216 children have been killed in U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran since the start of the war, according to statements carried by IRNA. She said that all those killed were civilians, including 12 children under the age of 5 adding that strikes on civilian infrastructure have caused additional casualties in multiple locations across the country. U.S. and Israeli attacks have also hit critical infrastructure, targeting energy facilities, desalination plants, banks, and industrial sites, disrupting daily life and economic activity. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said a strike on a desalination plant cut water access for 30 villages, warning that attacking Iran's infrastructure is a dangerous move with grave consequences. The U.S. set this precedent, not Iran. In addition, strikes on oil depots, gas fields, and steel plants have forced production halts and caused environmental damage, with reports of oil leaking into urban areas. Despite the scale of destruction, Iranian institutions continue to function, with state services and the Red Crescent remaining active in rescue and relief operations. In retaliation for U.S.-Israeli attacks across its territory, Iran has launched missile and drone strikes targeting military, industrial, and energy sites in Israel and U.S.-linked sites and military bases across Gulf states, including the strikes on energy infrastructure. And they made one good point here, too, about the desalination plants. It's Iran is not the only country in that area that uses those desalination plants. A lot of the Gulf states do as well for their own drinking water. So if there's any attempt to destroy those facilities, they're kind of hurt. If the U.S. is doing it, they're kind of hurting their neighbors in the area for doing that. And they just fail to realize that Iran is the one they're in charge of the Strait of Hormuz. They're in charge of the security now of these Gulf states, and the U.S. is just a tourist now, just hanging out. Like, what do they do next?
Yeah, this is endless destruction. And people have said, genocidal war, endless destruction. And to what end? It's just going to be another mess.
Yeah.
Every time we interfere, we leave a mess. If the U.S. was a house guest, we wouldn't be allowed anywhere, because nobody wants a house guest that leaves a mess behind.
Yeah, and it depends on who's pulling the strings of these house guests too. It may not be just in the interest of the United States, it may be in other interests too, but it doesn't seem like those are getting satisfied either. And now, we were talking about betting on the war and all that stuff earlier. Now the Pentagon is saying, no, none of that's occurring here. Not us. Oops. Did I do that? Okay. So Pentagon denies that Hexas broker sought investment before the Iran war. Oh, you think? Water blue, sky wet. Wait a minute. What? That's not how that goes. U.S. Department of Defense has demanded the retraction of a newspaper report alleging that a broker for defense chief, Pete Hegseth, attempted to make a large investment in weapons companies in the run-up to the war on Iran. What? Why would I buy weapons for war? That doesn't make... Pentagon spokesman Sean Purnell demanded the immediate retraction on Monday after the Financial Times reported that a wealth manager for the defense secretary contacted BlackRock about making a multi-million-dollar investment in a defense-related fund in the weeks leading up to the war. Oh, I don't think that's allowed. I'm not sure. Hexas broker at Morgan Stanley ultimately did not go ahead with the investment in the exchange-traded fund, whose holdings include Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman, because it was not yet available for purchase at the time, the Financial Times reported, citing 3 unnamed sources. So they didn't go along with it because it was unethical. It's because it wasn't ready. This allegation is entirely false and fabricated. Neither Secretary Hegseth nor any of his representatives approached BlackRock about any such investment, Parnell said in a post on social media as he peed himself. This is yet another baseless, dishonest smear designed to mislead the public. Is it though? Hegseth and his department remains unwavering in their commitment to the highest standards of ethics and strict adherence to all applicable laws and regulations, Parnell mumbled. Al Jazeera cannot independently confirm the Financial Times report. We stand by our reporting and have included a Pentagon spokesperson's response in the article. A Financial Times spokesperson said the Defense Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment sent outside of usual business hours. BlackRock declined to comment. Morgan Stanley did not immediately respond to inquiries. The report comes amid scrutiny of well-timed trades in financial and prediction markets that have prompted speculations that figures with insider knowledge may be profiting off of U.S. President Trump's war plans. I'm going to say they are. Just a little shot in the dark there. While the Financial Times reported that the attempted investment by Hegseth's broker did not go ahead, the defense chief would not have made money on such a purchase in the months since the war began. While the iShares Defense Industrial Actives ETF has risen more than 25% over the past year, it has fallen nearly 13% since the U.S. and Israel launched strikes on Iran on February 28th. I don't know what any of that stuff means. That iShares business. I have no idea what that shit is. But I wouldn't be surprised if people were doing a little, I can make a little coin on the side.
Yeah. Death, doom, and destruction and profits.
Oh, that sounds very Ferengi. Yeah, so apparently garbage bag hoarding is the thing now. Have you stocked up on your garbage bags?
I actually did. I get my garbage bags from Sam's Club, so I buy the huge boxes of them.
Well, that's a good thing, because prolonged Middle East crisis sparks garbage bag hoarding. You can read Korean. This is for you. Sorry. Already passed it anyway. Consumers in South Korea are stockpiling garbage bags as prolonged Middle East tensions continue to disrupt the local crude oil and naphtha supply, raising concerns over potential shortages of plastic and vinyl products, industry sources said on Monday. Major discount and convenience store chains have reported a surge in garbage bag sales and began limiting per-person purchases amid the spike in demand. How dare you buy up all our plastics? The supply concerns come with disruptions in the domestic supply. A key feedstock widely used in petrochemical and other industries, that's the naphtha, according to the U.S. and Israeli airstrikes, or following U.S. and Israeli airstrikes on Iran. Under South Korea's volume-based waste fee system, households are required to use district designated plastic bags for general and food waste. The bags are sold at convenience stores, supermarkets, and other neighborhood shops. E-Mart, a leading discount store chain under retail giant Shinsegae, reported a 287% on-year increase in garbage bag sales between March 22nd and this past Sunday, while Lot Mart saw a 140% rise from March 23rd to Saturday. GS25, a convenience store chain operated by GS Group, posted a 325% jump in garbage bag sales. To curb panic buying and manage inventories, many retailers have begun limiting purchases of standard volume-based garbage bags. Home Plus, for example, has issued guidelines to its stores restricting purchases to one bundle per person. And at the same time, concerns are also rising over potential shortages of plastic containers and packaging materials. Fried chicken chains, coffee shops, and other delivery-focused businesses, which rely heavily on plastic containers and cups, are reporting rising costs. A disposable cup manufacturer has raised the possibility of price hikes and production costs, an official from Idia Coffee said. Genesis Barbecue Group, which operates the barbecue chicken franchise, recently held a meeting with franchisees, warning that rising oil prices could increase overall costs, including those for plastic shopping bags, aluminum containers, and logistics. While there are no immediate supply issues with our current inventory, there is a high likelihood of price increases, a chicken franchise official said. If the situation persists, the burden could eventually shift to franchise owners. And what I understand is, why don't they shift to like hemp-based products? So you can do containers and stuff like that with hemp-based stuff. Why don't they do that?
Well, you're going to have to source new material. I mean, I'm all about it, but you would have to source new materials and different setups. It's going to take time to do that. I mean, this is one way, I guess, to deal with the microplastics problem. But I mean, again, it's just, war is not just about things going boom and bang. They're also about, shortages and things that can really disrupt all kinds of industries.
Yeah, they forget about the supply chain shortages. It's not just oil.
Yeah.
It's other stuff too.
Yeah, it's other stuff, and of course or even transporting the other stuff, but it's all kinds of things. And if those of us who remember back during the pandemic, when we had those, the toilet paper shortage, that was good times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and that ship too that was caught in the, what was it, in the what was it, the Suez?
The Suez Canal. I think it was the Evergreen. Yeah.
Yeah, the Evergreen. Yeah, that was blocking shipping from getting in and out of there. We don't realize that until it does show up or doesn't show up at our houses, and then we're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh wait, we were told about this. No, we weren't. Yeah, we were. Shut up. But yeah, so if you're gonna see prices going up, you're gonna see shortages of things too. Yeah, the Everstuck. Yeah, that's what it was. That's what's happening, and it's now it's starting to affect everybody. So if you're still on one side of a fence or not, you should probably get rid of that fence. It's not doing you any good. We had spoken earlier about the FCC, I believe.
Yeah, this is basically what's happening. We can read the story, but we're looking at a situation where people in this administration are saying the quiet part out loud. They're not even pretending anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and that's hardly news at all either these days. It's like, what are they doing? So FCC Chair Brendan Carr on Friday said at the Conservative Political Action Conference, that's CPAC, that Trump is winning his feud against the fake news media. Carr told the audience that other politicians gave way to the legacy national media, unlike Trump, who the FCC chief said smashed their facade. President Trump took on the fake news media, and Trump is winning, he continued. Look at the results so far. PBS defunded, NPR defunded, Joy Reid gone from MSNBC, sleepy-eyed Chuck Todd gone, Jim Acosta gone, John Dickerson gone, Stephen Colbert is leaving, CBS is under new ownership, and soon enough CNS is going to have new ownership as well. Gee, I wonder who owns them. Yes. Paramount Skydance is held by David Ellison, the son of Trump ally and Oracle CEO Larry Ellison. The company purchased CBS News last year and tapped conservative writer Barry Weiss as editor-in-chief. The parent company also won its bid to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, which oversees CNN last month. No, month before last. David Ellison has said the CNN's editorial strategy will serve a more politically diverse audience. Similar remarks were made previously about CBS News. Carr added on Friday that we're not at the point yet, waving the mission accomplished flag, but repeated that the president is winning. May not ever want to wave that mission accomplished banner. That seems to be not so good for presidents. In December, Carr suggested that the FCC was not independent from the administration, despite the website previously labeling it as an independent government agency responsible for implementing and enforcing America's communications law and regulations. The word independent was removed after the agency's chief testified before lawmakers. He recently threatened to crack down on broadcasters over their coverage of the U.S.-Israeli conflict with Iran. He wrote earlier this month that broadcasters could have problems renewing their licenses due to their coverage. Yeah, it'd be a shame to lose those licenses over your coverage. Yay. He wrote earlier this month that broadcasters could have problems renewing their licenses due to their coverage, accusing them of running hoaxes and news distortions. Those news distortions. Trump's war on the news media goes back several years, first amplified during his first campaign for the presidency in 2016. The president has accused much of legacy news media as being fake news and has preferred conservative media, which obviously isn't fake news. With reporting favorable toward him and both of his administrations. Yeah, that's usually how that works. You tend to go with the media group that's saying nice things about you, rather than the ones who aren't. Following his return to the White House last year, Trump warned mainstream media outlets that they were on notice after ABC and Paramount Global, before it merged with Skydance, settled lawsuits with the administration. Gesundheit. The White House also released a media bias tracker on its website in November to accuse news reports of omitting context and claim that they include lies, mischaracterization, bias, or malpractice. It features an offender hall of shame headlined by the Washington Post, MS Now, CBS News, CNN, the New York Times, Politico, and the Wall Street Journal. A hall of shame. I want a hall of shame.
Yeah.
The Hall of Shame. I didn't even have that up the whole time. I sure didn't. Well, it's okay. Yeah. So yeah, they've got these herd of cats that they call propaganda. They got all these lies and stuff out there. They have to make sure that they're on point with all of these. And apparently they're having a hard time with that.
Yeah. And just watching the FCC, what's happening here. That this is supposed to be the agency that gives the First Amendment its teeth by allowing for broadcast media, and this is just being taken apart. And seeing that independent coming off the website, that is truly frightening.
Yeah, and it's like they're not even hiding it anymore. So see, taking it off. Don't want you to get under any false impression that we're independent, because we sure as hell are not. You know who else doesn't tend to be independent is scumbags. They all kind of run together. Scumbags. These old bottom feeders. These old riffraffs. These old ragamuffins.
And this upcoming story we got from our good friend Ed Heller and his buddy Chuck. This is, well, you can read it, but this is something else.
What Cisco's $29 billion restaurant depot acquisition means for Main Street menus. Yeah, let's bring this up a little bit. So yeah, small independents once used Jetro Restaurant Depot to keep the prices of the Cisco's of the world honest. Now that pressure valve belongs to Cisco itself, raising urgent questions about pricing power, supply chains, and whether one more point of food cost will squeeze what's left of mom and pop restaurant margins. Cisco's move to buy Jetro Restaurant Depot for $29.1 billion is a structural shift that could reorder how a $250,000 independent restaurants source their food. And if regulators let it stand largely as proposed, it will reshape how those operators buy everything from chicken wings to go containers for the next decade. So yeah, not just the food, it's all the stuff that goes with it too. Cisco is already the country's largest food service distributor with a national broadline delivery network that serves chains, independents, healthcare, education, and hospitality. Jetro Restaurant Depot, with 166 warehouse locations in 35 states, brings a very different model. A wholesale cash and carry warehouse club where food service operators drive in, load their own carts, pay at the register, and take product back to their kitchens. In return, they get very sharp pricing on staples, fresh meat and produce, paper, and equipment. Cisco is paying $29.1 billion to gain overnight access to more than 725,000 independent restaurants and food service operators, a custom base it has long struggled to serve efficiently through traditional broadline delivery. Jetro Restaurant Depot has grown into a national network that focuses on price-sensitive independents, keeping costs low by skipping the last-mile delivery that adds roughly a third to logistics costs in traditional distribution. 3 decades ago, when Jetro Cash and Carry folded Restaurant Depot into its business, it was a wholesaler buying another wholesale, and for small operators, the impact was largely positive. Jetro Restaurant Depot doubled down on being the low price, no frills alternative to the large delivery distributors like Cisco until you get bought up, giving independents a vital cash and carry counterweight. That earlier deal created a stronger challenger in the value segment. Cisco's acquisition does the opposite. This time, the dominant full-service distributor isn't being challenged by Jetro Restaurant Depot. It's absorbing it, turning what once functioned as a pricing check into a more profit engine inside the same corporate machine. Yeah, so they basically just bought this. I know this firsthand. Back in the 70s, I was a young food sales rep selling canned ham to Jetro Cash and Carry. And I can tell you from personal experience that their buyers were among the sharpest and toughest in the business. They knew their costs, they knew their customers, and they drove a hard bargain precisely because their entire value proposition rested on passing the lowest possible prices through to the independent operators who depended on them. That DNA never changed, which is exactly why this acquisition raises so many questions about what happens next. So Cisco is paying about $29.1 billion, around 14.6 times Restaurant Depot's operating income, to enter what it calls a higher margin, resilient cash and carry segment, and has promised investors the deal will show immediate gains to margin, EPS, and free cash flow. And there's more information there. So basically, they just bought up this thing that was keeping them in check.
Yeah.
And now they're not going to be in check anymore, at least not from that end, right?
And we can see, a whole lot of independent restaurants, bars, cafes, who are going to be put out of business potentially by this. And that also eliminated, in addition to that being not a good thing, it also eliminates, third places in communities where people can come together and meet up and get acquainted with each other and talk. If we start seeing the restaurant industry slide into just absolute closures, which will happen in some areas, or being replaced with corporate chains, it's not good for communities. Or anybody who wants. Yeah, no, it isn't, and it's really it's really disturbing. And they're right. Restaurant Depot, it's not like Sam's Club or BJ's or Costco, where anybody can get a membership. You have to qualify for that for that membership, and yeah, you can get some very good prices on that sort of thing at Restaurant Depot. And if that goes away, if we lose that resource, if communities lose the resource, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good for communities. And I'm all about family. You put out family diners were the best. Just places they've talked about in the past. Diners were they're kind of a leveler. People, you could be sitting at a diner counter and you would have a CEO of the company there getting his coffee and some toast or whatnot, and you could be sitting next to a city worker who could be sitting next to a construction worker, and there could be a social worker over here. Anybody can sit at that diner counter, and there was something that really kind of was a great leveler in communities. People would get to know each other, get to know their staff, and this could be going away, because I don't think Restaurant Depot has another competitor like it.
Yeah, and Cisco probably knows that too.
Yeah.
So here's another thing that could be affecting people around Easter time too.
Yeah.
So swipe fees could cost Easter shoppers almost $600 million. What are swipe fees?
That is when you use your credit card and or a debit card, and they take a fee. And when you use your card, and that's something that it will get passed on eventually to the consumer, kind of like tariffs. Now,
Mhm.
something that's interesting, I guess, point out down here in Arkansas, there's several restaurant groups here who actually will state this on the receipts, that if you use a card, they have to charge you, but they charge you. They say this is not more than what we are charged. They just passed on the cost of using a card to the
Mhm.
customer, and that's made very clear. So a lot of people actually do pay in cash down here, but there are a lot of areas in the country where people don't pay in cash, or they're discouraged from paying in cash. And the funny thing also, we were talking earlier about the costs of groceries, and how people are going online or consolidating their grocery purchases, and they're using the mobile apps because they have the coupons on them. The paper coupon has really kind of gone the way of the dodo bird. And but the people who are using mobile apps and who are shopping online are doing it because they're trying to get the best deals. They're trying to comparison shop. They want to make sure they lock in a price. Now with digital shelf labels, they want to lock in that price. They want to make sure that they don't have a surprise when they get up to the cash register. But they're oftentimes using their cards. So this could result in them paying more anyways, because they're going to be charged for the swipe fees.
So the Merchant Payments Coalition has a not so happy forecast for the financial impact of swipe fees on consumers who shop for Easter using credit cards. The organization, a subsidiary of the NRF, estimates that if all of the record $24.9 billion the NRF has forecast consumers will spend this Easter were transacted with credit cards, the average 2.36 swipe fee rate charged for retailers for Visa and MasterCard credits would total $58.7 million, or about $4.62 per shopper. Yikes. Swipe fees drive up the cost of nearly everything we buy, and Easter is no exception. NRF Senior Director for Government Relations, Dylan Jean said, even the Easter Bunny gets ripped off by swipe fees. Even the Easter Bunny? I didn't know the Easter Bunny had a credit card. Whether they're buying Easter eggs, chocolate bunnies, or Peeps, these out-of-control big bank fees cost families more every year, growing twice as much as inflation and outpacing the growth in credit card volume. Swipe fees are most retailers' highest operating cost after labor, according to the National Retail Foundation, which added that total credit and debit card swipe fees hit a record $187.2 billion in 2024, and raising prices by more than $1,200 a year for the average family. Retailers rejected a proposed swipe fee settlement introduced in November by Visa and MasterCard. Congress is currently considering the Bipartisan Credit Card Competition Act. Bipartisan, watch out. Which Trump endorsed in January of this year. So if Trump likes it, it must not be good. So yeah, I've seen these before. I see them in the local stores here. They tell you up front if you're going to use a card, that they charge an extra fee just for the swipes, because they say they ain't going to pay for it. That's up to you, buddy. You want to get your charge on, you're going to have to pay this fee. But but people will do it. They'll do it as a matter of convenience. So, right.
Yeah, they'll do it as a matter of convenience, and people have to make that decision for themselves. But again, as consumers are getting more strapped, at some point that those fees are going to eat in to people's grocery budgets, and they're not going to be able to buy that one thing because they simply don't have the money for it because of the additional fees.
Yeah. One just seemed like it's one fee after another.
It is.
Which leads us to the Clownfish School. Yeah, so Christy Noem having a rough time of it, removed as the secretary for the Department of Homeland Security. She got put on something called the Shield of the Americas. That I'm pretty sure she wasn't too thrilled about that. Now, Christy Nome blindsided by cross-dressing husband who put her at risk for blackmail. That's not him. Ousted Homeland Security Secretary Christy Noem was blindsided by a report alleging that her husband had been posting photos of himself cross-dressing online. Oh, okay. National security experts said that Byron Noem's alleged activities could have put his wife at risk while she served in President Donald Trump's cabinet, according to a bombshell Daily Mail report published Tuesday. Christy Nome, who was fired earlier this month by Trump, is said to be devastated by the report, which detailed how the alleged actions of her husband of more than 30 years left her vulnerable to blackmail, according to the Mail. Laws, yes. Well, she probably should have talked to her buddy Kash Patel, who just got like all his stuff leaked. The newspaper obtained compromising photographs of Christy Nome's insurance mogul husband, allegedly shared online with strangers while she served as Homeland Security chief, where she carried out Trump's sweeping anti-immigration operation. The family was blindsided by this, and they asked for privacy and prayers at this time. Christy Nome's representatives reacted in a statement to the New York Post. Oh, you mean like those people that wanted
prayers for what?
They for her privacy. Don't you pray for her privacy? What's looking at? She's got a thumbs up, and he's got a stinky face. National security experts told the outlet that the photographs could have been intercepted by hostile intelligence services. Ooh. The Daily Mail on Tuesday published images suggesting that Byron Nome engaged in a bimbofication fetish and reported that he sent tens of thousands of dollars along with photos of him seeking a Barbie doll-like appearance to various female models online. In one image, the 56-year-old is wearing pink hot pants, and who doesn't at this stage, and a skin-toned spandex top stuffed with balloons to resemble comically large breasts. Comically large breasts, don't mind if I do. During Christy Nome's tenure at the department, Brian Nome was repeatedly asked for money and sent his online acquaintances at least $225,000, according to the Daily Mail. It's astounding that somebody whose spouse is at that level has that kind of bad judgment.
It's not astounding at all.
You should meet her coworkers. U.S. counterintelligence expert Barsky told the newspaper, if a media organization can find this out, you can assume with a high degree of confidence that a hostile intelligence service knows this as well. Added former CIA officer Mark whatever that name is. Polyduopoulos. Wait a minute, what? Damaging information like this can be a tantalizing lead for a hostile intelligence service. What's your husband's a cross-dresser or dude, just go to San Francisco. You'll be shocked. So Polyamorous added, they approached the person and say, if you work with us, we won't expose this. And if you don't, we will. That's espionage 101. Well, then, yeah, that's just straight up blackmailing somebody. That's nothing new and exciting. Brian Noem denied that his alleged activities put his wife at risk of blackmail when reached by phone by the Daily Mail. She said, yeah, do you know who my boss is? Are you serious? Do you think that? All right, anyway, so we get the gist of this.
Look, here's the thing. I mean, if this had happened 10 years ago, maybe, first of all, I think that the risk of blackmail is really low. The whole situation is comical. Yeah. I saw this and I said, oh man.
I know, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, and it's, yeah, like I said, you surrounded yourself with this crew too. That might be the least dangerous thing on the old docket there, is saying that your husband is cross-dressing. A lot of people might be like, oh, well, that's nice.
I can tell you right now, he's also getting off on this being exposed like this. Trust me on this. I mean, that's why he did it. You don't do that unless you've got the bimbofication, you've got the humiliation thing, you got the whole kink. spectrum is going on here. He is getting off on this like you would not believe. But as I said, honestly, the whole thing that was national security at risk, not now. Not right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
He's
think
not
there's
J. Edgar Hoover.
he's fine. Everybody's cool. This is the least of your troubles, that's for sure. So we have this thing down below. We have a list of our mutual aid folks, and we're obviously we're not looking for more. That's kind of a terrible thing to say, but if you know somebody that is in need of mutual aid, we put them in the description of all the shows. I announce them out on some of the shows. You can email extrabullet@gmail.com right there. If you know somebody that has like maybe a GoFundMe or something, let me know, and we'll put them up on the big board, as they say, and get them some shout outs too. So yeah, so that's extrabullet@gmail.com. Where's my thing? Here we go.
Important stuff. Really, people need help right now, as we've been talking about on this show. And yeah, whatever. If you know somebody, let us know. We can try to get the word out.
Yeah, we try to, like I said, we try to involve our chat peeps, our community, in as much of our shows as possible. And so, yeah, if you know somebody, please let us know. We'll get the word out for sure. Finally, today, you may have not seen this in your adventure since you left, but we got robots here in Chicago, and apparently they do not know how to drive.
No, they do not.
They do not know how to drive at all, which is why I'm glad I don't drive around here myself, because I would get some serious road rage at these robots. Delivery robots smashed Chicago bus shelters in two separate incidents. They get there's our little friend right there. Oh my, why in the name of, basically get the gist of that. That's some death and destruction right there. Well, it's not death, but
one reason I'm not crazy about the driverless cars either.
No, right? See that? He's got little eyeballs too to make him look cute, but you know what? Crushing glass is not cute.
No, it's not. It's dangerous.
Little violence wrecker right there. 2 delivery robots crashed into 2 bus shelters in Chicago within a matter of days, and one of the incidents was caught on camera. The first crash occurred Sunday when a delivery robot owned by Serve Robotics crashed into a Chicago Transit Authority Grand and Racine bus shelter, shattering the glass. Boy, I do not like that stop. The crash, which was caught on camera, shows the robot stop and remain in place after causing the glass to shatter. Like, how you like me now? We're aware of the incident involving one of our robots in Chicago. A Serve Robots spokesperson, who was not a robot apparently, allegedly, told WLS TV. No injuries were reported. Our team responded quickly to clean up, and we're retrieving what happened to make improvements. Hopefully made that bus get there quicker. We have also been in contact with local stakeholders and are committed to addressing any concerns directly. We take this matter very seriously. Thank you for your what does Trump say at the end of his thing? Thank you for your importance to this matter, or some shit, whatever. The second crash occurred Tuesday involving a robot owned by Coco Robotics. Coco, shattering the glass at a bus shelter near North Avenue and Halsted Street.
Take a look at the sidewalk along North Avenue in Old Town.
This is a hazard to people's safety.
Tuesday afternoon, video shows a Coco delivery bot moments after it crashed through the CTA bus shelter at Larrabee. The crash.
Yeah, we don't get the proof. He was quick to cover his tracks. So Carl Hansen, Coco's vice president, head of government relations, said the company would be taking care of any costs for repairing the shelter. We're aware of an incident today in Chicago involving our robot. This is something we take seriously and is well outside the norm of our operations, he said in a statement provided to CBS Chicago. A petition to end Chicago's delivery robot pilot program started by Chicagoan Josh Robertson has gathered more than 3,700 signatures, including robot ones. The program is scheduled to conclude May of next year, but by then it may be too late. It may be too late. What will our robot delivery masters have in store for us until then, Lainey?
I think this is actually a plot against public transit.
You think people just hop on top of the delivery things and say, screw it, just take me where I need to go, and it does it?
No, the idea is that they're not going to want to stand there and not going to want to use public transit because a robot might come up and smash the whole thing to pieces. I'm joking.
Yeah. It could be. Now they could be using the robots to get their frustrations out, but they can't smash a one of those things. That would be against the law. But if the little robot dude does it, that's all good in the hood. Light it up there, little R2D2. You go ahead and get your rage on. That's what I would say. I'd be like, it's the robot, you're ossifer, not me. It was the robot that did that, not me. See, then you can always blame it on the robots, and you can have your adventures destroying things around the city. It's beautiful. I wouldn't do that. Don't do that. Don't destroy the city. If it came in kaiju size, like if it had like it was like 20 or 40 feet tall, then I'd be like, oh. But then if you see that rolling around the streets, that'd probably scare you too, wouldn't it? Just its very presence. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, robots are not safe, folks. Just stay away from them. I don't care if they're snack machines. Just stay away from them. They're not good. Yeah, that's the end of the show. That's it. That's all our 2 hours and change. We're gonna be back again next week for this at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, probably not Instagram for a while.
Yeah, Instagram has changed the thing. You have to have 1,000 subscribers or followers on Instagram, and my account only has 940. If you're at all interested, do check out Peterson Laney. I'll put that in the chat.
And that's not just it's not a ploy to get extra
no, it really isn't.
Subscribers.
What it is though is that the Instagram, people didn't watch so much on Instagram, but it did let people know that it was on, and people would come back over to YouTube or Rumble or Facebook and then tune it in. If you want to do that, that would be, if we can get 60 more people to do this, then I can start live streaming it again from my account. We'd also, if you'd like, go to our link tree and you can actually follow us on other social media platforms. And once we get up to a certain number on those platforms, we can start live streaming there as well, and not relying on our personal accounts.
Meanwhile, we're streaming on YouTube and Rumble, their own Undercurrent pages, and on Lainey and her Facebook and on my Facebook account as well. We're also streaming this on our Undercurrent Substack page as well. Yeah. So you get the links, you get the video, you get all that good stuff. Right there on Substack. Be sure to check that out and subscribe, please. We can always use more subs in that regard. In any of these. And we were talking about this earlier. We like them nice and organic. We don't want like this flood of subs because like some person said, hey, we should go subscribe. If you like it, subscribe.
I just did. Yeah. I'll put it in again.
Subscribe.
Yeah. I'm putting it. I put it in before, and I'll put it. That's the Instagram, and and if you keep in mind, my last name is spelled with an S-E-N, so there it is. But yeah, if you can do that, it would be really, it would help us out just to notify people to come and tune in. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
As for me, I'll be back again Friday morning for Morning Extra. I was a little bit under the weather last Friday night, so we'll try to get the Secret Show on again too for Friday night. And of course, we got clips of this show and my shows too that are out there too. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe and all that good stuff. You got anything coming up for you, Lainey, before we get out of here?
Nothing coming up right now. Again, if you want to get the show notes delivered to you, you can go to our Substack, sign up for that, or you can just go ahead and look. But there's the links to the articles, the sources that we use for our stories, and sometimes we even put extra ones in there that we're not featuring during the show, so you can do your own research. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate all y'all commiserating with us and hanging out with us and feeling sad with us. but he feeling bad, be feeling happy too, like the bus shelters getting whacked up by the robots. That's kind of, I mean, it's not, but it is kind of, in a way, it's kind of a fun thing. You gotta have to pick and choose where you get your happies these days. Yeah, so other than that, I guess we will see you again next week for this. Like I said, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, getting back to Instagram, and on Substack as well. You can watch the show live on Substack too and comment in the chats, but we also have show links on there as well too. So you got all the information that you can put in your pie hole. Anything else before we get out of here?
I hope everybody, if you celebrate, that you have a blessed Easter.
Yeah, enjoy yourselves. Oh yeah, is that coming up? That's coming up this weekend. That's right.
Sunday.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, so good for today is April Fool's, by the way. So people will be trying to fool you. They will. Don't fall for it, or any day.
Put your thinking cap on.
It doesn't necessarily have to be for today. So yeah, Good Friday's Friday. Yeah, have a good Easter if you do that sort of thing. If not, enjoy your day, and we'll see you when we see you. Let me make sure I hit the right thing. Okay. Peace out, everybody.